Hi, this is Sabrina, and today I'm going to show you how to refashion a couple of men's button-down shirts into a really cute nap dress, the Jane Austen style dress that took over the internet this past summer. First, you'll want to start by dissecting the shirt. I start by cutting off the sleeves at the armholes on both sides, like so. And then next, I cut off the front parts of the shirt, just to have basically some flat fabric to cut my pieces out of. I cut it by going up the side seam and also cutting at the collar underneath the collar stand and across the shoulder seam, like so. Next, I cut the collar and the back placket off the back piece. Then I cut off the cuffs on the sleeves and cut down the seam line, so I end up with a nice flat piece of fabric.
Now repeat the process with the other sleeve.
Once you have all of your shirts dissected, you'll want to treat each piece as if it was a fresh piece of fabric and simply cut out all the pieces of your garment according to the pattern pieces. I'm using Butterick 6630, which is a historical Butterick sewing pattern, which promises to make a Jane Austen style dress with a square neckline and some puffy sleeves. As an alternative, you could use McCall's 8132, which also features a very similar silhouette. When cutting out your pieces, think about how you can use the existing features in the garment and make them into features in your new garment. For example, I used the button placket on the men's button-down shirts and cut them into the sleeve bands for my new puffy sleeves on the nap dress. I also took the bottom hem of the shirt and made that into the bottom hem of my skirt pieces. That'll save me a bunch of time because I won't have to hem the skirt of my dress. All right, with our pieces all cut out, let's start constructing the dress. So I have taken the skirt pieces, cut them out of the light blue shirt, and sewn together the back and the front pieces at the side seams. Next, I've cut out the bodice pieces out of the pinstriped shirt and sewn them together at the side seams and the shoulder seams. Now let's take this to the sewing machine and sew it together. Next, I've constructed the puffy sleeve out of the pinstripe fabric.
I've used the sleeve bands I cut out from the button placket on the original button-down shirt, as I hope you can see from this photo here. I left the old label from the original button-down shirt, which I think is kind of a cool touch that gives a nod to the shirt's previous life. Now that our base dress is done, it's time for the fun part, playing around with different frills and embellishments. I folded or bunched up the pieces of fabric from the two remaining shirts and roughly pinned them at the neckline, waistline, and hem, just to get a sense of the possibilities. First, I tried blue accents at the neckline and hem, but I thought there was just not enough contrast between the blue accent fabric and the blue fabrics that were already in the base dress. So next, I tried pinning some of the purple fabric to the hem, but I didn't love that either, and I thought the purple might look better at the waistline instead. Basically, I kept playing and moving around the different strips until I found a combo that I thought looked good. Once I settled on the combo of fabrics, I cut out a 2-inch wide strip for the waistband, cut on the straight grain. I then folded the edge under, about 1/4 of an inch on each side, and stitched it to my dress, positioning it just below the waist seam. For the neckline ruffle, I cut a 1.5 inch wide strip on the bias. It's important to cut this strip on the bias because you'll need to ease the strip around the curve of the back neckline. I then folded the strip in half and stitched it to the neckline with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Then I flipped the strip upwards and top stitched through the seam allowance to secure in place. Finally, I used the fabric from the last remaining shirt, i.e. the blue one, and lined the bodice with it to make the dress more comfortable to wear. I didn't bother lining the skirt because I didn't think it was necessary. And with that, I was done. I loved the finished nap dress, which is indeed comfortable enough to nap in. I had lots of fun transforming the button-down shirts. It really wasn't that difficult at all. The key is just to look at the button-down shirts as sources of cotton shirting fabric. I hope that was helpful and that you're inspired to transform some old button-down shirts into nap dresses yourself. Happy sewing!